direct that voice to the person who's, you need to send the voice directly, be it whether an email or a tweet or picking up the phone to call, or even, well, this is quite sensitive in Malaysia, bring out play cards and then go towards his office and tell him into his face. But use all means, getting the participants online to offline. That is well, the last result of the campaign was the detachment was cancelled, the forest was saved, and thank God everything was back in order.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing. What are some of the impact? That's a great story and how we sort of took it from online to offline and continued online as well, and that resulted in achieving the cause that we were fighting for. What is some of the other impact that you have seen, sort of coming out of using technology or engaging your volunteers, either to get them to come up with digital type solutions or even mobilizing them online? What is the impact of speed for your causes?
Well, I'd like to talk about, a bit of a power transfer, because we're basically, in our situation, we have volunteers who come to work with our students, and we're teaching the refugee kids to then be able to teach themselves, because that's what you want. You want to empower. It's not always about, I guess, the volunteer being there and assisting you every step of the way. At some point, you need to be able to take over. And so we've done, we've had actually a few projects at the school. We call it catch-up, because for refugees, the fact of the matter is they've been denied access to quality education or any education for numerous years. So when they come to the school, they've had years, chunks of learning lost. And how do they play catch-up? So we found using technology has played a huge role. For instance, we're able to use, we afford to them MOOC courses, which are free online short courses that they can do, and they get a form of certification, recognition. However, if you aren't IT savvy, you're not going to be able to complete this course online. So we're actually starting this program where we've had another college come in, and each college student is mentoring one of our refugee students. And so for the duration of about 5 weeks, they're working together every week on this MOOC course, and eventually when they complete it, all of our kids get, if they pass it, they get a cert. But it's also, beyond that MOOC course, it's also teaching them how to teach themselves and the access to this online learning. And that's something that a digital volunteer has essentially done with them. And so then after this, I don't need to rely, or they don't need to rely on finding a mentor, because now they're capable, they have the skills, and they can go online and continue to teach themselves.
That's great. And the thing about MOOCs is there's lots of excellent content out there. And incidentally, I know of another great, started out as an NGO, and today it's a social enterprise, EduNation. I don't know whether you've heard. Have you heard of EduNation? EduNation is another great effort where this guy, basically, I think he's typing, he's gone out and initially gotten volunteers to do up video tutorials based on the Malaysian school syllabus, right? Because a lot of the MOOCs and the online learning programs that are out there are not based on Malaysian learning courses. So he's gotten volunteers to do video tutorials, and he's gotten great tuition teachers. He said school teachers a little bit, boring, but tuition teachers, because they have to sort of create their market, right? So they are a little bit more engaging, and they basically do out these video tutorials, which are now free. And his mission is education for all, and he's doing it via online, because he says, there's so many kids out there that are either not just dropped out, but in school but disengaged. They're not engaged in their school, and so for them, this is another platform that they can actually get online and learn online. And it was powered initially by volunteers. Now he's gotten a donation, but he still works a lot of it based on volunteerism. Raj.
Yeah. For us, because we used technology, because we used the internet, we managed to get something like 600 volunteers from all over the world, throughout our programs in Southeast Asia. But it's funny, in Malaysia alone, because we've showed what we're doing, and we've showed these options that are available in Malaysia, we've got 38 different nationalities right now that have come all the way to Malaysia, and they are working with us for a year. and they're serving in the companies, right? And the only reason this was possible was because of technology. Now, but something that I find very interesting, which Deborah touched on, was, it's in Europe, in the US, if you actually volunteer, if you get involved, it's treated as a proper internship, or it's treated as a gap year. Unfortunately, in Malaysia, it's still not that way, where if you actually volunteer or you get involved in an NGO, it doesn't count for anything. Now, and this is what we're hoping to push, where we tell universities, we tell colleges that, hey, if the same formal internships that they have to do, these practicals, right? An NGO is no different than a company. In fact, an NGO is, you struggle more, you learn harder, and it's so much more difficult than a company. So if you allow them to do their internships formally as part of their education system for 3 months, 4 months, whether it's their accounts, their graphic design, their engineering, whatever, they're going to learn amazing things. And you solve the problem of NGOs having to pay a lot for to have staff. You get these volunteers who are studying, and they get first-hand experience. So this is something, I mean, you said how to take it further, right? So technology, yes, you raise awareness, you connect, blah, blah, blah. But the reason why we were so successful in connecting was because the universities allowed this. Like the gap year in the UK is huge. And in fact, if you do a gap year, and there's 2 people at the interview with the same qualification, the person with the gap year will get the job, right? And this is a fact. So that's why parents encourage it, and it's great exposure. And it's funny that we're not doing it right here.
I completely agree with you. And in fact, that was one of our motivations as well. When we were thinking about digital volunteerism, everybody said, yeah, it's great to do good. But then the question is, what's in it for volunteer? And that was my reason. My reason was, what? Actually, we learned a lot by volunteering, right? And we were hearing from graduates who came up, and they said, I can't get hired because I don't have work experience, because I don't have a network, because I don't have testimonials. But you know what? If you volunteer, you get all of that. You get the work experience, as Raj said, in a real sort of a very hands-on, knee-deep kind of a situation. You get testimonials from the NGOs themselves, and it's not easy to get a good testimonial NGO, right? And thirdly, you have a network of people that you work with. And that is what we are also hoping will catch on, right? And we are hoping that we can also try and influence colleges, the ministry, and so on and so forth, to start looking at this as credible work experience, right? Because I think it also goes beyond just work experience. It also helps to strengthen empathy. It develops empathy, it develops leadership. We know so many corporations, PricewaterhouseCoopers, many others, who use volunteerism as a form of corporate training, corporate leadership training, right? So if they do it at that level, what more the younger people? And it would be great, I mean, if there are students in the audience, please go to your universities and push for that and ask them too, because many private universities also need to make sure that they're competitive and they address their market requirements, so please do that.
And I think also the youth underestimate their power. I mean, the intelligence, the ideas, the creativity, the skill levels that exist at that level, and everyone's ambitious and driven. It's an opportunity to channel all of that to certain causes, and to get excited about this, because there's, I mean, even just the 4 of us sitting here, we all do very different work. There is a lot to be done, and I think it's definitely the universities engaging with them and the youth, be motivated.
Oh, that's definitely true. If I can just sort of maybe address Pete's hand, you've been quiet. Maybe you want to share. So is there any thing that you guys have done? Where do you see this going to the next level?
Okay, the way I see it, like you were saying just now, the impact is not just on the homeless, the people that we work with it's also us, the volunteers. We learn a lot. Basically, when we started this NGO, we struggle more. We have to keep resilient. We have to really be consistent. So all that by the help of digital volunteerism and the way we communicate through Facebook and all that, it helps a lot for us to actually reach out and then get the right people to come to us and volunteer on what they are good at. Basically, if they are good in the internet, maybe they can help us develop a website. And also in reach out, we have 7 days. So we have little group that actually function on their own, which means they will go to find food themselves. They will interact with their people within their own community. So this is all through the net and through the Facebook that we have empowered them to do. So how we go beyond this is actually, it can be huge, like what we have done for these past few years. We have seen how it grows from, little seed to the big trees, on how people are empowered and how people are looking at one another. Basically, we are doing from the top to the bottom, we are doing the same thing. Even the top people have to do the same thing like the one who are new. Like we are still on the street all the time, even though we founded the group. So his day, which is Saturday. So if anybody wants to meet us for a meeting, we tell them, come meet us on the street. We don't have the building, we don't have anything, so come and meet us on the street. So we are very lucky because a lot of universities and a lot of CSR has come to us to volunteer, and they have to meet us halfway, which means that we will not just take the goods from them or money. We don't accept money even. They have to buy the food accordingly to my specification because we are more, we are more experienced. And the terms is that they need to come and do the recce. And if they see that, okay, this is what I think my company can do, then only I will accept them. Because I will never, invite somebody who don't know anything about Reach Out, who call me and say, anyway, what does Reach Out do? So obviously they do not know and they just want to actually complete their assignment or anything. So that's why I asked them to come to the recce and then see how we can get from there. And then you will be the one who explain to your company, instead of me and my husband come and explain from from school to school, university to university, because we all have our jobs to do. So this is how we do it.
So this is part of the community outreach programs that the universities have, like credit hours that they have to do.
Yeah, normally most of the time they this CSR program, they need to do a specific thing or specific hours in a year. So that's when they start looking. But what we want is actually the quality people who wants to come and do something more rather than, I want to do this, can you please get, this is the money, so you just do whatever you like. Then I just say, I'm so sorry, we have to be halfway. You have to carry the food and everything, even your CEO have to come and meet us where we are at the location. Yeah.
So in that sense, when you work with this kind of process, it's less manja.
Yes, less manja. You got to do a lot of work.
It's a bit more manja.
Yes,
Start up, we show you your chair, we show you your desk and your computer, and you kind of wait there for your tag, and somebody shows you the ropes. But I guess in many sort of on-ground courses, you kind of just go there. You got to figure things out yourself.
That's right. Even for the students, the leader, who sometimes they want to be spoon-fed with information, I just say, you are doing us a favor. You be the future leader. So now you do the whole thing. You run the food fund and everything. And if you don't know anything, just call me. I will let you know how it's done. So on the Saturday that they come, everything is on them. They do everything accordingly, which is very good. So those staff one will actually do the whole run themselves. Yeah, the supervising.
Great. So since we've got many young people in the room and not so young as well like myself, I'd like to open the floor up. Do you have any questions that you'd like to put to our panelists here today?
Which I may just add. So one thing we actually realized after doing some research in Europe and the US, because we always sort of kind of benchmark that more bigger than youth volunteerism is actually employee volunteerism. And this is something that is, they have the big companies like Google, Intel, they've been pioneering these for years and telling people, we pay you, you take a day off, and you go and help. And the reason they do it is not because they're so generous, It's because they actually realize that their employees become more creative, more dynamic. Now the third thing is, if you tell this to a Malaysian boss, he'll tell you, yeah, right. It's go to hell. I mean, sure, whatever, But this is the same. We can start, create, because we have this new breed of CEOs coming in. They're young, they're dynamic, and start pushing employee volunteerism and say, hey, if you actually want to make your staff more efficient, give them the day off, but make them do good, right? And this is so that's why we are connecting with a lot of big companies, and we actually find them far more receptive. And the guys behind the desk go like, dude, anything to take me away from the table, dude. And I get paid, I can pay my loans, I'm there. So I think something that is we should really look into seriously and start targeting, employee volunteerism in the country.
I definitely agree. I think talking about local companies, Petronas has been one of the few companies that for some years now has been volunteering with Mercy Malaysia. They have a whole program where, it's not just one day, they allow you several weeks of go and work in a disaster-stricken area with Mercy. So, I think definitely the shift is there, move is there. Sometimes it's a question of, if you give one day, is it effective? Is it enough? So you've got to think about the sustainability of it. Is it as impactful as going in for a week or so? But yeah, corporate volunteerism is definitely one of the trends that we should be encouraging locally. So I'd like to open up the questions, otherwise I think we're having a little chat down here, and I know we can sort of go on. But any questions from the floor?
Actually, really just to agree with Raj, that the CSR programs that we're involved in, Visa and I, are actually key to your country as well. Because my generation, with all due respect to the ones that probably caused the poverty issues that we're now facing, right? Your generation can fix it. You can only fix it if you have an opportunity to do so. And it's up to us to create that opportunity for you. And it's not just about going on the streets. It's working in the schools. It's working for education for the kids that don't have it. So your choice, yeah? You're the generation that can make it happen, and you can actually get rid of poverty in Malaysia if you want to do so. You have the choice to do it. And what Raj was saying about corporations, again, what we've seen over 8 years. 8 years ago, if I had 1 ringgit for every time somebody said to me, there are no homeless in KL, because I've never seen one, I'd be a very rich man, and I would actually probably own this facility. Today, it's different. Today, people are coming and saying, yeah, there's a problem, we know there's a problem, how can we help? The corporates, not just the blue chips. I have a company tomorrow at Timberland, the shoe people. We're meeting up tomorrow to build a school for an Orang Asli settlement. This is the first one that they've ever done. So what happens is, what we found, and this is the question I really have for the panel, is that what I've found is that there's a movement from how can I help, where do I go to get that information? Once I've got that information, how can I actually help? Where is it I can go to help? And I'd like to know whether you guys have actually found that movement from, what can I do? How do I source it? And
he's launching it tomorrow.
Yeah, we've already registered for it.
Well, I mean, that's exactly why we did NGOHub.Asia, right? So that people can know, there's a central location. Because Malaysians, fortunately, unfortunately, hawker centers, I blame the hawker centers. And I'm from Malacca, and we have the best hawker centers. And,
no way.
Yes. Okay, yeah, sorry, the Penang Malacca, yes. Malacca's better. Anyhow, so, we are a culture of convenience, right? We love our elevators, we hate to walk, we love parking, and it has to be convenient for us. So that's why we said, okay, fine, we'll make it convenient, we'll let go that initial element of sacrifice. And here's a website, here's a web portal where you can find out about all the different NGOs. We've got a whole team promoting them on social media. So every day we're highlighting new NGOs every single day. And this is a place where, number one, NGOs get to profile themselves. Number two, NGOs actually get to engage volunteers. Number three, NGOs get to list their events. where there are fundraisers, there are programs, whatever's going on that they have, they can push it out. And the fourth, which is the most amazing thing, which most NGOs love, is they can finally apply for support and say, I need this, I need this, I need this, help me, right? And this is how we hope, and eventually merging the donors with, because donors want to know, is this real, not real? So we're working with ROS, because there are also a lot of not so genuine NGOs, right? And so we're trying to use technology to solve that. So you can actually rate the NGOs, like how you could on TripAdvisor and whatever, or great restaurant, horrible hotel, whatever. And using the power of technology, we're working with ROS, and we can then pass all that report. Say this NGO, there seems to be complaints, or this NGO is great, give them an award. You know, that's how we are using it. So NGOhub.asia, if you're around town, come tomorrow. It's at 2 o'clock, and for all of you, please register on our platform. There's some bugs, but we're fixing it. By tonight, we should be fine. So yeah.
And if I could just add also, I mean, it's great that we've got such young, dynamic people here today who work for NGOs. But there are many NGOs out there which are.
I almost wanted to ask the question that there are many NGOs that is like very what to say, like very money-minded, etc. Like I heard there's one particular case of the homeless people. I think the NGOs doing on banning the soup kitchens and whatsoever. What do you guys do about this?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Since I'm talking about reach out, right? What do you guys do about this? But there's one case about most recently. There is one case where one of the NGOs or the someone like that actually go and ban the soup kitchen.
Oh, there was an attempt to.
Yeah, there was an attempt.
Is it new? Is the soup kitchen new?
It's been a long time ago, but I heard that the banning is like most recently.
I think you're referring to the announcement from Putrajaya at one point.
I see.
Yeah, but it was reversed, I believe, the decision. But perhaps, Lisa, you can comment since you run
Okay, there are few soup kitchens in KL right now.
Yes.
So we are just one of them. Okay, some of them do it 2 to 3 times a week, like for us every day, and some of them accordingly. And I don't believe if you were to think that some of the NGO actually are money-minded. They raise fund, and then the fund will go to somewhere else, and then they have to show people because they have the fund from the public, so they have to show people that they go out to the street lah. So whether or not the food is immaterial. So this is the case of again, this is how it started and how whoever who starting it plan it or do a set of objective. Whereby for us, that's the reason why I told just now that nobody will be involved and you have to come together. So for you young people, you can actually see how genuine is an NGO by actually come and then work for them. So that is the only way. By you hearing it from the net, and sometimes even you can also trust your friends, because like for us, by words of mouth, that's how we got our dedicated volunteers. And again, even though the technology helped us tremendously, it's still human nature on how you have to work by example, and they have to follow accordingly. So if I say me and Pete still stay at home and then just say, oh, you do this, you do that, like the CEO thing, nobody wants to follow us because we actually because I don't want to carry the heavy bottles anymore. Because I used to carry, when we don't have any volunteers, I used to go to my day and then get 10 boxes myself and then practically force the boy to help me get into the car and things like that. So I've been there, done that, and there's so many young people to help right now. So it is true that now I'm the supervisor lah. So, but then again, they see us doing it. I'm the one who raise fund. I'm actually who tell them, okay, I need 100 curry puff, can I make me here? Okay, this is the quality control of the curry puff. It has to be like this and like that, and the rice has to be like this and like that. It has to be exactly of the nasi lemak you want to eat for yourself, not for the dogs, because we do not accept that. So by doing that, they actually look at how possible it is to do something like this and empower their friends at the end. So this is how I see it.
Yeah. I love your passion. I love how you ask the question. I love that you're angry. You know, but if we're angry about something, what do we do with that, with that energy? You know, do we just stop there and let the anger consume ourselves, or do we find an outlet or a solution? How do we engage with the authorities or the issue itself? You know, keep on being angry. I love that, but channel it to the right way. Yeah. Look at our government's website today. You know, compared to just 5 years ago, it's amazingly improved. There are more things to improve, yes, but you can find a lot of information from our government websites, be it your MPPJ, PSJ, up to your ministries level. You just click onto the website, click on contact us, who are the jabatans involved, who are the agencies involved. It's all there, all the contact information, what they do, it's all there. I'll come back to you. And all you need to do is just send them an email, ask them the questions. They are obliged to reply you. If they don't, there's another agency, there's another website that you can complain about them not replying you.
I almost want to ask also
yeah.
that there are some people in the government that is like very screwed up.
Yeah.
There's also one case which I also wish to highlight too, is about the UPSR thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's probably a debate for another day.
Yeah, but I love that passion. Yeah, keep it up, you know. And every one of us should have that passion as well. I would also want to highlight would be that look at the panels here. Yeah, you're lucky to have a full-time job, doing what you love and doing what you're passionate. You are not full-time on your future schools. You're not full-time. No, you're not. Just want to clarify. A lot of time, but you're not getting paid for no. And this is just a part-time job, and I'm doing this community organizing part-time job as well. And you don't really okay, but you know, but this is the reality of it, you know. Community organizers or volunteers or people behind all these passionate NGOs are not given the due recognition, are not given the due remunerations to carry on what they're doing. Yeah. We have this thing called a grant season where we have to back and write grants to 10, 20 grant givers to hopefully, finger crossed, to get the grants so that we can sustain for another year, and the cycle goes on and on. So I would just want to plead to all you guys to be a bit softer, not too harsh on the NGO people. You know, we are doing our best. We would like to spend more time, but that's the number of hours that we have. That's the number of volunteers that we have. But it will be even better that you can channel that passion, that dissatisfaction that you have with the society. Come and volunteer with all of us. You know, pick a cause that you like the most. You can pick a cause on the animals, saving the rivers, feeding the homeless. You know, anything that you want. But contribute in any way that you can. Yeah.
And just quickly to say, the authority is with the volunteers. It's with you guys. You know, no one's putting a gun to your head. So I always tell anyone who wants to get involved, it's about responsible giving. You can do the research, and the internet has afforded us that. Google a name, Google something. You're going to bound to find good things and bad things, like what Raj was saying earlier. And then make your decisions and visit the places. So really, the power is in your hands, and to use it wisely, be responsible with whom you give your money to, how you give it, and whether you choose to even give money or your time, or in their case, products. I mean, not just products. So
I was going to just echo that, you know, like the Malay saying, they say what belum kenal belum cinta or something like that.
Tak kenal maka tak cinta.
Yeah, exactly. And so we can't sort of be afraid and say, you know, you can't sort of paint the whole brush and say everybody's a bad apple. You don't know unless you've tried, right? And life's an experience. You know, so sometimes you just have to go down to the ground, experience, just try it out. And if you find that the organization is an organization that you're not comfortable with, there are many other causes out there. You know, there are how many NGOs in Selangor itself?
It's like 7,000, in Malaysia 70 over 1,000.
There you go, 7,000. So, you know, take your pick.
Just to add, if you don't like, you know, always start one, and that's one of the reasons why I do more for Malaysia is that. Yeah. Is to highlight people who are already doing stuff, so just go nominate yourself.
Yeah, actually, I mean, yeah, that's true. If you remember, I spoke about EduNation, and the young man there, it was the same situation. He was unhappy with the state of the education that children were receiving, and he was teaching tuition at an orphanage, and then he realized how disengaged lots of kids in schools were. So he took it upon himself. He was a civil engineer. He quit his job, took it upon himself to do these videos, right? So he just did something on his own. So definitely, I think the power is in our hands. And incidentally, as Daniel has said, we've got the Do More Loud campaign that's happening right now. But beyond that, we're actually launching a longer-term program along with Souls 24/7 through the NGO Hub Asia, as well as with the Do Something Good platform. So those are two platforms that we're using. And do visit it, and you will find lots of opportunities where you can give your time digitally via ICT and use your ICT skill sets to bring good to fellow Malaysians. If I can just sort of go around, maybe the last words from each one of you, if you have anything to add, your last call for action from each one of you, starting with Deborah perhaps.
I would say that you know, there are so many communities and so many disadvantaged and marginalized people in the world, all of them deprived of one thing or the other. And yes, we sit here and talk about technology and we talk about enablers productively, and those are all positive things. But at the end of the day, it comes down to passion, and it really is equipping people. It's you being passionate about something in life, working with another cause, building that passion, and equipping people with the skills and tools so they can go on to live their lives, enabling them. And there's this quote I read when I was just looking for stuff online. It said, "A woman with a laptop can be more powerful than a man." And if you look around in the world, we can see how that can make sense. There are positive generational effects on this. Amazing. You're not just changing one person's life, but families and literally generations to come. So the internet is a huge, powerful tool for the volunteer as well as the people that you pay.
To me, NGO is about society get together. If we are passionate about something, if we believe in something, then we start doing something of what we believe. Because most of the time, people just know how to talk. They will do one thing one time and then they stop. So by volunteering, by joining a good NGO, it's actually doing a favor to us more. Because we will be more tougher. Then we will see, like for us, when we see the homeless, then we see how lucky we are, even though we are not really that well off, but at least we have a roof over our head, at least we have food. And then these people just lie down there on the street, they do not have a choice, sometimes they do not have even a food. And popular to the belief that we feed the homeless and then that will cause them to be lazy, but actually we do more favor for us by helping, because then we see how we are at this side and they are that side. So what makes you think that you are lucky by choice, that God put you on this side and not that side? So if we are better than these people, so we have to do more better actually to help these people. So by doing this, the younger generation can see that iPhone is no longer that important comparatively to these people who are on the other side of the street. So that's why by doing this NGO thing, it's again a responsibility that comes from your soul, not just for the heck of it, or I want to show it. Again, how many times? This is about you proving to yourself, not to your friends, how you can adamantly be at it for a long time and make it work.
Right. I don't know what to say, but I was studying here before, many moons ago. So I was an alumni of INTI. Back in those days, I remember the only way you can access the internet is go to the faculty of IT, which you need to exit the main campus, you walk through the Mark stores and you reach the faculty. But now everything is so simple. Wi-Fi everywhere. A piece of this can bring down the government. But this is a government-sponsored program. But what I'm trying to say is that the power is really in your hands. The power is really in your handphones. Yeah. You can record an incident, you can voice, you can participate in even a global movement. So it's the options and it's limits. You can do basically everything now in the palms of your hands, which always comes into the famous quote, which is with great power comes with great responsibility. Get that comes from Spider-Man. But yes, you can bring back to the society, creating false information and doing bad things, but you have the power as well to do a lot more good stuff, be it to yourself, to your community, or to your own people around you. You know, so that's the. But final end note is you must do something. You know, do not wait for the fellow do first, then I follow the other fellow do first. You yourself, you have all the resources in your hands. So please start activating and start doing things today. Thank you.
You know, I was like, how do I make this sweet, short, and sexy? And I think it's really brilliant. You know, it's about stop being selfish, stop just thinking about us and our friends and our family, and just simply do more lah. You know, and that's what this is all about, right? Just do more lah.
For Malaysia.
For Malaysia.
That's the
for Malaysia, do more lah for Malaysia. And of course register on NGOhub.Asia. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we've had a great discussion, and some of the questions that came up are also very highly relevant. Can I just have a show of hands? How many of you are students from INTI? Okay, great. So if you aren't already volunteering, please visit the NGO Hubs Asia, as Raj has said. Or if you do have a great story, go to Do More for Malaysia, the Facebook page. Or if you don't know where to start, but would like to start volunteering, please see my colleague. She's over there. Raise your hand. Her name is Sharifa, and she's managing our digital volunteerism project from MDeC. And so, if you're keen to get started, but don't know how to do it or where to go or whatever, talk to Sharifa. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we look forward to all your entries on our Facebook page. Thank you.
Final word, to end this session, I want you guys, everybody to be in a picture so that everybody will be, we want to see you guys online. So this is one first step, but let's do this.
Go for those. Over there, right? Okay, repeat, guys.
And by the way, everybody, food out there is all for you guys. Yeah, so that's